Chapter 3. Telling Fortune. Cleo lay on her bed, fuming. Apple, apple, apple. A great made-up swear word because it was both a food item and a company. She was so mad she could scream, but that would just get her even more time in her room. Solitary confinement. The worst confinement. The worst punishment ever. Not only could she not leave her room for an hour, there would be no television for the rest of the day. She would miss Fortune. She pounded her mattress and stomped her feet, keeping her voice to a low growl. She thought about finding Mom and begging for another chance, but that definitely wouldn't get her more time. Once Mom announced a consequence, she never went back on it. Dad and Cleo could talk into a more reasonable position, but not Mom. She was immovable as a corporate boss in her labor dispute. Fortune smiled down from the wall. Fortune always beaming, always believing, always reminding her she could be the success she wanted to be. Fortune wouldn't have punished her by taking away a whole day of doing business. She probably wouldn't agree that Josh needed to toughen up a little bit, and that Cleo was responsible for enough to use a chef's knife. She stood on her bed and looked into Fortune's face, searching again for hints of herself. Brown eyes, long, straight nose, rich brown skin. Cleo had brown eyes, but they weren't as round as Fortune's. Cleo had a long, straight nose, but her father's didn't flare out as wide at the bottom. Cleo's skin was brown too, but not nearly as shimmery. Fortune glowed. The biggest likeness was in their smiles. They had both giant smiles, sparkling smiles that could win people over in an instant. Unless that person was Cleo's mom. Why didn't Mom believe in her, like Fortune did? Well, Fortune would if they ever actually met. She popped back down in her bed and fell over, her head on her Satan-covered pillow. If she could only talk to Fortune. She sat up straight. Of course, she could write Fortune a letter. A well-written letter would get her an attention better than an email any day. And if anyone knew how to write a persuasive letter, Cleo did. She opened her desk drawer and pulled out a piece of the personalized stationery she made that weekend. After officially changing her middle name, she looked up Fortune's office address in an issue of Fortune Woman magazine, then sat down to write. It took her 4 drafts and a lot of personalized stationery, but finally it said exactly what she wanted it to say. Perfect. The letter says, Dear Miss Fortune, A. Davis. My name is Cleopatra Edison Oliver. I am in 5th grade. I am most likely your biggest fan in the whole wide world. I've been watching Fortune with my mom since I was 3 years old. Seeing you on TV is actually my very first memory. Can any other fan say that? Question mark. Miss Davies, you talk about purpose a lot. You say yours is delivering destinies and financing futures. I have a future in business. I know I do. First of all, there's my name, which you after my birth mom. It's true that you find the Pharaohs of Egypt fascinating. Personally, I love my name because Cleopatra was a very powerful woman, just like you. Not only am I named after a queen and a ruler, my initials are CEO, and I am a Capricorn, just like you. The Zodiac's top business achievers. So, Miss Davies, as you can clearly see, ruling companies is my destiny. I have tons of ideas for what I will do with the money I make, starting with a special theme park for adopted kids and their families. If I had $1 for every time my parents said I rule the house, if they let me, I would be rich already. But clearly, I'm not in charge yet. Today I got in trouble for something. My mom took away my business for a whole day. Did you ever feel like your parents didn't understand you? What did you do? I am currently the president and CEO of my very own company, Cleopatra Enterprises Incorporation. I hope you don't mind that it sounds sort of like Fortune Enterprises Incorporation. I have many product lines over the years, but right now I'm focused on avocados. I always give 10% of what I make, just like you, saying Fortune Principle, number 10. This past spring, I learned about what it means to be a CEO when I did a report on the most influential person in your life. I chose you, of course. I am a member of your Fortune Kids Club and have written to you many times through your website. Your replies have told me to keep watching because you might read my message on your show, and I have. Every day at 4 o'clock, You haven't read any of mine on TV yet. But that's okay. I am confident you will very soon. I know you are super busy running all your businesses, starting schools in other countries, and being on TV. But if you could write me back with the answer just one very important question, it would make me so excited and happy. I would take your letter to school and show it to everyone. I would frame your letter and hang it on my wall forever. And this is my question: what is the most important thing to do when you're my age? If you want to be a huge success like Fortune A. Davies. Miss Davies, if you're ever in Los Angeles, I hope you will stop by Cleo's awesome avocado stand. The best avocados in all of Altadena Heights. Aldena Heights. You will get a bag of my best avocados on the house, of course. Your biggest fan. If I had $1 million, and one day I will, I'd bet on it. Signed, Cleopatra Edison Oliver. P.S. I have memorized all 10 fortune principles of how to build your business and live the life you want. Thanks for all the great advice. P.S. Please help. Please write me back. Should come close to adding a PPPS if there's any way you had a daughter 10 years and 8 months ago, and that I could be her. But no, she didn't want to sound desperate or pitiful. She was a very enterprising young lady. She was on her way to the top. She was going to be a stunning success, and now Fortune would know it too. Thud. The floor shook. One of her brothers yelled, "Thud!" Josh and Julian were playing paratroopers off the top bunk bed again. Cleo looked out her window. Mom and Dad were talking in the driveway. Dad clasped his large hands on the top of his head. Mom's mouth moved quickly. Her eyebrows pinched together whether in anger or worry. Cleo couldn't say, knowing her mom. Probably both. Cleo sat on the wall between her and her brother's room, pounded on the wall. "Knock it off, Josh and Jay. You know you're not supposed to be doing that." They screamed and jumped again. Thud, thud. Cleo yanked open the window, ready to tell on her brothers. "It's not enough," she heard Mom say. "Our monthly payment is about to go up." They were talking about it again. Money. Mom hadn't worked for it for the past several years, since they'd gotten the boys. Dad said something about his voice was too low to hear. They started walking toward the house. Cleo pulled back so they wouldn't see her. Mom's voice floated up from below. "I'm not being too harsh, Charlie. She has to learn that she can't take whatever she wants whenever she wants. Do what you were. Do you want to raise a selfish kid?" Cleo's chest squeezed. She felt hot all over, and something else, but she didn't know the word for it. Bad. She just felt bad, full of badness. She was too selfish for them. She wanted to close her closet, and she went to her closet and took down the small metal safe where she kept her money between trips to the bank. She turned the dial and pulled out 10 of the dollars she made before screwing up and losing her business for the day. She took out another piece of stationery, wrote so you can buy your Nerf gun. "I'm really sorry," in her best handwriting. She stashed some money and note in an envelope, wrote "Josh" across the front and quickly slipped it under her brother's door. A minute later, Josh bounded in and hugged her so hard he almost made her cry. Dumb kid.